So my name is Marc and I'm from the Bitcoin Hotel. We are the first Bitcoin hotel in the world and we have like a circular Bitcoin economy. So you can pay everything with Bitcoin, you can buy Bitcoin, and Bitcoiners from all over the world come to our hotel to experience Bitcoin, because right now Bitcoin is often very theoretical, but in praxis you can't really do a lot with your Bitcoin, and we want to give the people like a Bitcoin experience. So we have Bitcoin gadgets where you can try it out, we have Bitcoin art, we have Bitcoin themed rooms, and today I want to share our experience, and I want to tell you why Bitcoin is a super good tool for a restaurant, bar, hotel, or general for a company, and Bitcoin is actually a no-brainer. And so we're going through the pros and the cons of Bitcoin in your company. So to start with the pros, so the obvious thing is we have less fees because, for example, in the hospitality as a hotel, you always have like third parties. You have like the Visas, the Mastercards, the PayPal, and obviously Bitcoin is peer-to-peer. You don't have like third parties, so you have less fees, and this is like the obvious point. The next point is like Bitcoin is instant settlement, and lots of people don't get the concept of instant settlement because lots of people are not aware that if you have a shop, if you have a coffee or a bar, when you get a card payment, for example, PayPal or Visa or something like that, the payment is not settled directly. So you have to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and this is like liquidity that is missing to your business. So often a business doesn't go bankrupt because it has no money, it goes bankrupt because there is no liquidity left. So Bitcoin is really like a big opportunity for bringing more liquidity in your business, and I think this is really, really good. So the next point is censorship. I mean, in Europe, this is not so much a problem because, the banking system is more or less working, but still it's on my list. So Bitcoin is censorship free. You can do transaction 24/7, and even if the bank is closed, you can receive and you can send transactions, and this is actually a pretty good tool. And so now we start with like the arguments that are actually not so obvious, because like transaction fees, instant settlement, everyone can get it who knows about Bitcoin. But what we experience, there are so many more good points to have Bitcoin in your company. And for example, this is a very strong argument for having Bitcoin in your company because you attract new people. So in our Bitcoin hotel, for example, we have people from all over the world. Our hotel was actually just a normal hotel, and now it's the Bitcoin hotel. We have like newspapers, articles, we have like camera teams in our hotel, and it's really like a thriving hub for Bitcoiners, and we have so many new guests, and you have and this is really, really good. Okay, and what comes together with this is like you get better ratings. So why do you get better ratings when you have Bitcoin in your company? You get better ratings because Bitcoiners want to share their experience. So they come to your hotel, they make videos, they make tweets, they make photos, they write blogs, they do podcasts over there, and Bitcoiners want to share their experience. And so if you have like a company or a bar or a shop, it's really great to have Bitcoin in your company because it gets more attractive because people make better ratings. For example, we had like 4.2 in Google ratings before we adopted Bitcoin to our hotel. Now we have 4.5, which is pretty amazing. And the rating is really a cool thing, which is, nice. And in hospitality right now in Germany, we have like a big problem because we have like worker shortage. It's pretty hard to find workers. And what we realized, everyone wants to work in an innovative Bitcoin company. So we're getting lots of applications, and actually we are not having like workers shortage, because nowadays people, they don't want to work like just for the money. They want to work in a company where they can identify with which values they share. And if you're like a Bitcoin company, or if you have the Bitcoin sign, then it's a sign to the market, hey, we are innovative, we're doing something new, and maybe they share the same values with like this Bitcoin ethos, and therefore this is like another strong argument to implement Bitcoin into your company. And now maybe a question into the crowd. Do you know the first man who was on the moon? So raise your hand if you know who was the first man on the moon. So there are a few, yes, almost everyone, yes. And now the question, who knows who is the second man on the moon? Who was the second man? Does anyone? Okay, one guy knows it, two guys. Okay, and this is the first mover advantage because everyone reminds the first mover. And the second one is almost, no one remembers it. So we have like this first mover advantage, and everyone can profit from the first mover advantage. So you can just go within yourself and you can ask yourself, what is what I can really do well? So one guy maybe can write books, or another guy has like a coffee or a restaurant, and then you can just connect this with Bitcoin and you can still be part of this first mover advantage. And if another Bitcoin hotel opens and it's like the second Bitcoin hotel, no one will remind it, because the people will always remember like the Bitcoin hotel because we were the first mover, and many people can take part of this first mover advantage, and this is really a strong point for Bitcoin in your bar or whatever. And here you can see a picture of Lina Saiche together with the president Bukele from El Salvador, and this is what I call the El Salvador effect, because Blochingen no one knew Blochingen before we were the Bitcoin hotel, and now all the Bitcoiners from all around the world come to Blochingen, and as I already said, like we have newspapers, television, and all the lots of media. And Bitcoin, to be honest, it's also a really strong marketing tool. And also El Salvador profited from this marketing effect, so their GDP grow up, their tourism numbers grow up, and we can see the same. So people now, they know about Blochingen, and before no one knew about this small town, and now it's like a Bitcoin hotspot really. And the special thing about Bitcoin is Bitcoin has really a strong community. And what we realized, if you open or if you accept Bitcoin in your company, then the community will come and they will ask questions. And what we realized, you can integrate a community. So you can make meetups. And the best part is you don't have to do everything by yourself. The community, they want to interact with you. They have ideas, and if you're open for the ideas, then you can implement those ideas. And so lots of ideas from our Bitcoin hotel, for example, we have lightning gadgets. We didn't develop them by ourselves. The community came to us, and everything we said, okay, we're open for it, and they were happy to share it. So the collaboration effects are really strong if you implement Bitcoin in your company. And this is also what brings me to the next point, the synergy effects, because Bitcoin is not just a tool to increase, to reduce like transaction fees. Also, like so many synergy effects will happen, because now actually you're more attractive as a company, and then other companies want to collaborate with you, and therefore we also have like lots of collaborations accomplished, which we would have never been if we would not have been open for Bitcoin. And the synergy effect is really also like a strong argument for Bitcoin. And this was like lots of positive arguments, so from transaction fees to marketing effect and lots more. And it sounds like a no-brainer, but to be honest, there are also like some problems or some things we still have to work on. So it's not like plug and play, and there are also some things that are like a bit of a problem. So the first thing is actually the knowledge. Because lots of people, they have just like the knowledge is missing. So if you, for example, have Bitcoin in your company, the staff in the company, they have to know at least what Bitcoin is. They need to know how to receive, how to send. And Bitcoin is mostly not integrated like in a POS system. So you have to teach your staff, your people into your hotel, you have to teach them how is a Bitcoin transaction working. And if they don't understand it, then it's a problem. And also, why I'm always get the question, why are there not any other Bitcoin hotels? There are no other Bitcoin hotels because the people in the hospitality, they are so into their fiat mindset, and they are so busy and they don't have time to think, and the knowledge is missing, so they don't even know what is possible. But if you don't have time, then you also can't realize what is possible. So you need some time, and then you have to think, and then you have to really also interact with Bitcoin. And therefore, the knowledge part is really like one thing that hinders like more adoption. But the knowledge is getting better. We have like better podcasts, better videos, better books, and people more and more realize the power of Bitcoin. And the next thing, of course, I mean, we are here a pioneer, and on the one hand, the pioneer side is really good because you have like this first mover advantage. But on the other hand, it's really hard because there is no plug and play. You can't like go to YouTube how to build a Bitcoin hotel. You have to do it all by yourself. So it's a lot of trial and error. It's like falling down, standing up again. So not so much people want to go through this process. And this is also what hinders lots of people to adopt more Bitcoin into their business. And of course, we have like the taxes and regulation problem. I mean, we found actually a clever way to outsmart the system, but it also depends on the country. But to be honest, Bitcoin is not legal tender, so this is still a thing, and this hinders adoption as well. And also, I think there must be better regulation, less regulation actually, to really also use Bitcoin as medium, as a transaction medium, and not just like to hodl Bitcoin. Okay, and this is like the last problem. It's actually like a little reality check, because what we often see, and it's not just our experience, it's also like experience from El Salvador or other Bitcoin communities. I mean, you have like now this absolute scarce money, and what you want to do now, you don't want to spend it. So we have like lots of Bitcoiners, but the reality is lots of those Bitcoiners, they don't spend their sats. So they come there, they really like it, Bitcoin hotel, but in the end, they just take their credit card and then they pay with fiat money. And for me, it's I kind of understand it. On the other hand, I can't understand it because, you have scarce money and then you want to hodl it. I understand it. But to really kickstart adoption, we also must use Bitcoin. And and this is like just the reality. But overall, I think if you have like all the pros and all the cons, then definitely it's a no-brainer for me to accept Bitcoin in your business. There are so many benefits, and you almost have no cost to implement Bitcoin. So actually, everyone should do it. And we already talked about why people don't spend their Bitcoin, and this is like here the problem. I mean, nobody accepts Bitcoin, and on the other hand, nobody pays with Bitcoin. So this is actually the adoption dilemma. And now the question is, how do we get people to spend Bitcoin, and why should you actually spend Bitcoin? And this is the next part here of the presentation. And I want to invite you to a little mind experiment, because we realized some patterns in the people who visit the hotel. So there are certain patterns. And of course, if you want to kickstart like people also spending your Satoshis, then what I always can see, I mean, if you don't accept Bitcoin, then of course nobody can spend Bitcoin at your business. So this is like the first stage. This is the no-coiner stage. You don't accept Bitcoin, therefore nobody can spend it. And the next stage is like acceptance. This is key. I mean, if you don't accept Bitcoin, nobody can spend it. But if you accept Bitcoin, then at least some people will start to spend Bitcoin. And normally this starts really slow. So if you make a sign on your window, we accept Bitcoin, not like you can't expect like thousands of transactions. Maybe you will start to sell a little coffee, and then from there it will grow and grow and grow. But lots of people, when they put a sign on the window, they are like not so happy because not so many people are paying with Bitcoin, and therefore you must incentivize the people to pay with Bitcoin. And this is why we give Bitcoin incentives. So for example, we always give incentives if people pay with Bitcoin, because we have less fees. So we have less cost, and this lesser fees we can give to the people. So if you pay in Bitcoin in our hotel, we give incentives. We have the inflation rabatt, the inflation discount. So the actual inflation rate, you get a discount. So in Germany, it's around 6%. So if you book your room and you pay with Bitcoin, you get 6% discount. And this brings people to more and more spend Bitcoin. And also it's cool for you because, I mean, you have instant settlement, you have less fees, and those fees you can give to the people. Yeah. And then, the next part to even drive the spending of the Bitcoins a step further is like if you integrate the community. So if you make meetups, if you make events, or for example, we have a Satoshi bar, or if you make like little Bitcoin gimmicks, and if you really integrate the Bitcoin community, then they are also more open to spend their sats. And also, you really must be authentic, because if you're just putting the sign on the window and you're not like a Bitcoiner, you just see it like as a marketing tool or like a money machine, then the people won't pay with Bitcoin. They pay with Bitcoin when they see, wow, there is like a Bitcoiner and I appreciate his work. And the biggest form of appreciation is to pay the business with Bitcoin. This is the highest form of appreciation. You give them your scarce Satoshis, and therefore the community part is really also important, to be authentic, to interact with the community. And when the community realizes, hey, wow, this is really a great Bitcoiner and a nice blab, and this makes sense, then they are more open to spend their Satoshis. And the last step, like this is the biggest part. So the last step here is the Bitcoin experience. If you're able to create a Bitcoin experience, so it's not just you come there and you pay your coffee, but you have like a full experience. So for example, we have a Satoshi bar, we have Bitcoin art all over the hotel, and it's like just like the atmosphere. And if you really make the people feel Bitcoin and experience Bitcoin, then they are really open to spend their sats. And this is what we always can see. For example, we have like a vending machine, and sometimes people, they drive 2 hours just to go to the vending machine, make their first Lightning transaction, then they make a tweet or they make a video, they are super happy, and then they leave again. And that's the day, and that's made their day. And so this is really like, I mean, not all type of businesses can create such a Bitcoin experience, but at least maybe you can implement some parts. You can put a white paper on the wall or whatever. You can be really creative, but if you're able to really create a Bitcoin experience, this will really kickstart people to also be willing to spend Bitcoin at your company. Yeah, so we have here like the full journey from the no-coiner to the Bitcoin accepted, over in incentives, the community, and then the Bitcoin experience is like the last step. Okay, and this is like a tree, what you can see here, and I always use this image because adoption has to be from like both sides. So we need the users, this is like the fruits on the tree, and also we need like the stores, and this is like the crown of the tree, so the bars, the hotels. So we need stores or companies that accept Bitcoin. So the adoption really is from both sides. So it's not like we have to accept Bitcoin or we have to pay with Bitcoin. It's really like both sides. We have to have more acceptance, and on the other hand, we have to have more people that pay with Bitcoin. So it's like adoption from both sides, actually. And maybe my last take here, if we look in the white paper, Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And if you look in the white paper, Bitcoin is not a peer-to-peer, what is here, a peer-to-peer HODL system. And therefore, Bitcoin was already made to be spent. And what we can see right now, Bitcoin is, we have like all the HODLers, and lots of people use it like as, to store their value. And this is also like a big tool, because we can now store value. But really the next step is also we have to spend our Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is like a bottom-up approach or a bottom-up movement. And so it will just gradually and slowly and very organically become more and more like a medium of exchange. So we also use it as a transaction medium. And we are like one type of pioneer who is like really kickstarting this, but more and more companies, more and more shops, restaurants or whatever are also accepting Bitcoin, and more it gets also used as a transaction medium. And therefore, my last words for you: spend your sats, go to your shop, your restaurant, your bar, and if you spend your sats, this is like the highest form of appreciation. You appreciate, you say to the shop, wow, your product is so great, you don't get the scrappy fiat money, I give you my scarce Bitcoin money. And then the most, or the coolest part is, you can spend and replace. So you can spend your Bitcoin and then directly you can replace your Bitcoin. So there's actually no argument anymore why you should not spend your Bitcoin, because you can directly spend and replace your Bitcoin. And therefore, I thank you a lot for listening, guys. And that's it.
Thank you, Marc. Don't go anywhere, because we've got plenty of time for some questions here. So,
yes.
Has anybody been to the Princess Hotel? Oh, look at this. Wow, all right. Is anybody going to the Princess Hotel? Yes, we're actually going next week. You didn't shill your event.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many events. I mean, almost every month we have like different Bitcoin events. So we have, for example, privacy event. We have like a Bitcoin Maxi event. We have an event for women. We have events for beginners. So it's actually not like one big event, because we're not like the biggest venue. We have around 150 people which we can host at a Bitcoin event. And it's something pretty special, because we have like this familiar atmosphere. And for networking, it's just amazing. And everyone who was at the hotel will love it. I mean, yeah, we have lots of people.
I'm going to open up questions to the floor. So if anybody has any questions at all, James, of course.
Sorry, I'm hogging the questions. So I'm an accountant, so forgive me for this. And if I put you on the spot, please just take it away and maybe come back to me if you like when you go back. I'm going to ask you a numbers question. So you say that you give a 6% discount to customers who pay in Bitcoin. But overall, what's the average room rate that you achieve from a Bitcoiner when you include things like booking.com fees and credit card fees? Overall, is it Bitcoiner versus non-Bitcoiner room rate average?
Yes, so this is a really good question, because this is what lots of people don't get. So, I mean, as a hotel, or as not just a hotel, you always want peer-to-peer payments, or you want peer-to-peer bookings. So we want to get more direct bookings, and if we have like Booking, if we have Expedia, Airbnb, I mean, we are on those platforms, but we're actually just on those platforms to be visible. We have extraordinarily high prices on those platforms, because we want to make the people book directly at our hotel. And on Booking, the fees can go up to 20%. And this is a lot. And then you have like the Visas, the MasterCards, then you are over 20%. And therefore, Bitcoin is a way for us to create more direct bookings, because if you want to pay with Bitcoin, you can't do it this on Booking, on Expedia, on Airbnb. They have to go to our homepage, and then they get a discount, at the moment 6%. And this is like a super deal for us. It's a super deal for them, because they pay 6% less. We have 20% less fees, and under the line, it's a win-win situation for everyone. Did this answer your question, or?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah.
You mentioned some of the challenges with training the staff on utilizing it in a POS sense. Can you talk a little bit about your POS integration and maybe how do you have everybody send to the same wallet, and then do you just have like the staff with a QR code on there? Like how do you operationally manage the POS side of things with maybe a Bitcoin Lightning wallet or on chain or however you do it? So just a little bit more of the details of how you do that.
Okay, this is really interesting. So we have different ways to pay with Bitcoin at different locations in our hotel. So to start, like we have like a fully digitalized booking process. So you can check in with your smartphone, you can open the doors with your smartphone, and the payment is always done before the check-in. So the people pay before they check in. And the room booking is actually made so you get a payment link and then you pay the link. And this is done with OpenNote. You can also use like another service provider. We use OpenNote because actually we had BTC Pay Server, but for us it was challenging to liquidity manage our Lightning node, and this works if you have like small transaction volumes, but really lots of people pay with Bitcoin. So we are really happy like with a Lightning service provider. So they get a link, a payment link, and then they pay, and actually that's it. But the challenge is our hotel software is not connected to the transaction software. And this is not just for us, this is also like for bars, clubs, and everyone else. You have to put it manually into your POS system or into your, And this is really not so cool, but right now we developed like a system where this is automatically, but this is self-made, it's not public for like many people. So this is the booking process, and then also we have, for example, the Satoshi bar. This is like a self-service bar. We have just QR codes there, and it's like on trust level. So actually you can take the drinks and you don't pay for them, but there is a price list, and we trust Bitcoiners. Normally you can trust them. They scan the QR code and they type in the price, and this is all made self-sovereign from them. And this is like the Satoshi bar. And also we have Lightning gadgets. The Lightning gadgets, they have QR codes, and the prices are already in the QR code, so they scan it, there's the price in it, and that's it. So this is like the different possibilities, and then also we have like tip possibilities where you can just tip some sats if you want to make a tip for the staff. So yeah, depending on where you're paying, the payment route differs.
Mark, we got a few more questions, so stay where you are.
Thanks for your talk, Mark. How are you thinking about loyalty, integrating loyalty points with Bitcoin? Have you thought about that, or is it just, bring in too much complexity on the Bitcoin network or the Lightning network?
What do you mean by loyalty?
Like loyalty points, loyalty programs, like you have with other hospitality brands.
Okay, so you mean like because of the taxes and regulation, or?
No, just if you have somebody staying for 10 nights, they get 100 loyalty points. And they can spend that on the hotel rewards like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not like having like rewards or something like that. But if you pay with Bitcoin, you always get incentives. Either you get an upgrade for your room, or you get like a discount, or you get like a drink for free, or something like that. So the thing is, we are at a point where we don't just want to increase quantity of the people in the house, we also want to increase quality of the people. And what we realized, the most quality you get with Bitcoiners. And so we always incentivize people or Bitcoiners to come. So maybe at some point we have the flippening where we have Bitcoin only and no more fiat guys. I mean, no shame about the fiat guys. I mean, yeah, we are all Bitcoiners in our heart, just some people didn't realize it yet. And yeah, we want to increase the quality, and we can increase the quality with Bitcoin.
Yeah. Hi, Marc. I wanted to ask you, do you keep Bitcoin in your balance sheet? Or do you find easy ways to actually spend them? And if you keep the balance sheet, Bitcoin in the balance sheet, how do you actually record them, register them?
Yes.
I mean, you have to convert it in the fiat, the value of the day. Thank you.
Yes, so there are different possibilities to have Bitcoin in your company. So you can have it on your balance sheet, or you can shift it to your private side. So in Germany, regulation-wise, if you have Bitcoin for 1 year in your private side, then it's tax-free. So if you have it in your company, even if you have it 10 years in your company, it's never tax-free. So in Germany, I mean, this is no tax advice, but for me, it makes the most sense to try to shift your Bitcoin from the company side to the private side. And the way we do this is, if someone pays in Bitcoin for a cappuccino or for a room, then the Bitcoin payment is made to the company, and in the moment of the Bitcoin payment, we take our bar money, so our normal fiat money, we put it in our system, and then actually it's booked as a fiat payment, but we get the Bitcoin into our private wallet. So actually we are buying out the Bitcoin out of our company. I mean, you need to have enough liquidity to do this, but the big profit is that we have tax-free Bitcoins after 1 year, and also you have like a tax neutral transactions, so you don't have to track like the price at the transaction and then also the price when you sell the Bitcoin, because this is what you actually wanted to say, I guess. Because if you have Bitcoin in your company, then also you have to track like those transactions. You have to track like what was the price when you received those Bitcoins, what is the price when you sell those Bitcoins, and the difference you have to pay taxes for. And we also always try to bring the Bitcoin more on the private side. And but it can depend. Like if you are in Switzerland, maybe it can make a lot of sense to have the Bitcoin in your company. So it depends on the legislation and where you are.
Now I'm looking over here, waiting for the next person to come up stage, and it's tumbleweeds. Nobody is there. So we're going to keep you right here and keep grilling him with questions. So does any... Yes, thank you. 1 second.
How do you advertise? Is there, besides of word of mouth and maybe the wallet of Satoshi, how do you advertise within the Bitcoin community?
Yes, so as you already could see, lots of people know about us because we actually have like multiple ways to advertise, and the marketing is really important. So first of all, there's social media. I mean, we are active on Twitter, on Instagram, on Nostr, like on all the social media platforms. But also, it's not just we doing content, it's also like people coming to the hotel doing content. So for example, we have podcast producers making podcasts in our hotel, and then the hotel gets showcased. We had television teams, and almost all big newspapers in Germany, we were present, we had articles, and it's not us doing the articles, it's like reporters reporting about the Bitcoin hotel because they like the story, and people always want to tell good stories. And if you are a reporter or if you are from a TV company or whatever, then this story is like really cool, and therefore we have like multiple ways to make marketing, but it's not like on an active way. So also this is important. If we make like posts, for example, we also have like a YouTube channel where we make Bitcoin education, and we never go actively to the people and say, come to our hotel, book a room. We also always try to give the people like some kind of value, and then have like on a side note, we have like a link, okay, and here, if you want, you can book a hotel. So maybe we have like a information talk, and then we talk about Bitcoin, or like what I'm doing here. I'm not saying like actively come to the Bitcoin hotel. I'm just talking about it. I'm informing the people, and we're making Bitcoin content, not just us, also people who come to the hotel, and then there is always a link, okay, but if you want, check out the Bitcoin hotel and maybe book a room.
Okay, Marc. I do believe we have the next guy ready for his speech. So there was a gentleman over there. If you can just raise your hand. Okay, right, Marc. Pay attention. These guys, they have questions for you. So if you can just meet them outside in the networking area. Ladies and gentlemen, Marc.
Thanks.